Hey everyone! So, just 6 days ago, we witnessed something absolutely huge. Ripple announced their partnership with DBS Bank and Franklin Templeton. And let me tell you, this was massive because we're talking about establishing repo markets powered by tokenized collateral and stablecoins. We covered this extensively and it was already a big deal. But here's the thing, there was this one sentence that caught my attention. Institutional momentum is building on chain. 6 days ago, they said that. 6 days. And you know what? They weren't kidding, because literally just happened. Ripple dropped what I can only describe as an absolute bombshell on all of us. Something we've been speculating about for months, maybe even years, just became reality. So what exactly are we talking about here? Well, check this out. This announcement is hot off the press, and it's game-changing. How do you unlock real-time liquidity for institutional assets with RLUSD? Our new partnership with Securitize will allow holders of BlackRock's Build and VanEck's VBILL to instantly exchange their shares for RLUSD, thereby preserving exposure to on-chain yield and other DEFI capabilities. Securitize is also integrating with the XRP ledger to expand access and utility to the XRP ecosystem. This is how we're building the infrastructure for a more efficient, compliant, and on-chain future. I mean, wow, this is absolutely massive. And here's why this matters so much. Securitize isn't just some random company. They've had backing from BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, and other major institutional players for years now. This is exactly what we've been predicting would happen. Now, let me break down why this is such a big deal. First off, tokenization platforms are currently holding around $17 billion. That might sound like a lot, but get this. They have over 399,000 holders, and these platforms are positioning themselves to handle trillions of dollars as tokenization explodes in the coming years. And guess who's leading the charge? Securitize. They're sitting at the top with $3 billion tied directly to their platform. We're talking about funds from BlackRock, Apollo, VanEck, Hamilton Lane, basically a who's who of financial giants. Let's talk numbers for a second because these will blow your mind. BlackRock just reported their assets under management for 2025. Are you ready for this? $12.5 trillion. Yes, you heard that right. Trillion with a T. But wait, there's more. Morgan Stanley, they're managing $1.67 trillion in assets right now. Hamilton Lane is sitting pretty with $947.7 billion. That's almost $1 trillion. Apollo has $840 billion under management, and VanEck, while smaller, still manages around $102 billion. When you add all of this up, we're looking at over $15 trillion combined. And here's the kicker. All of these assets are moving on-chain. How do I know this? Because every single one of these companies has publicly stated that tokenization is the future and they're all in on it. But here's what makes this even more interesting. We've been tracking Securitize for ages, trying to find that connection to Ripple, and today we got our confirmation. Let me show you something fascinating about Securitize's leadership. Their board of directors includes a managing director from BlackRock, plus several other notable names, including someone from Morgan Stanley. But the real eye-opener is their advisory board. We're talking about representatives from the SEC, JP Morgan, Barclays, Google, the New York Commodities Exchange, the World Economic Forum, and Prudential Securities. This isn't just impressive, it's a powerhouse lineup that shows just how connected and influential this company really is. This partnership isn't just another business deal, it's a clear signal that the traditional financial world is fully embracing blockchain technology and tokenization. And Ripple, they're right at the center of it all, building the infrastructure that's going to power the future of finance. But wait, it gets even better. Check this out. Look who's sitting right there on Securitize's advisory board, James Wallace from Ripple. And yes, we also see IBM there, but James Wallace? This guy has been on their advisory board for ages. This is exactly why we've been speculating about a Ripple Securitize partnership for so long. And speaking of connections, BBVA is also on this list. Sound familiar? That's because just a couple weeks ago, maybe not even 2 weeks, Ripple announced a partnership with BBVA too. I'm telling you, the institutional momentum is absolutely real, and it's happening right now. What's incredible is just how stacked this advisory board is. And here's something interesting. Ripple has actually been an investor in Securitize this whole time. So we had James Wallace on the advisory board, we had Ripple as an investor, and we were all sitting here wondering, when are they going to make this official? Well, now we have our answer. If you look at all these names, and I'm talking about going back to 2020, maybe 2021, we've got MUFG Nomura SBI, These are all companies that have been official Ripple partners in the past. So this announcement, it was practically inevitable. Now let's dive into what Securitize themselves are saying about this partnership, because their official announcement is pretty exciting stuff. They're explaining that RLUSD is Ripple's fully reserved stablecoin, and get this, it's backed one-to-one by USD deposits and short-term treasuries, issued under a New York Department of Financial Services trust charter. We're talking about serious regulatory compliance here. With over $740 million in circulation, RLUSD is specifically built for institutional use. Here's how it works. Qualified fund holders through Securitize can swap BUILD for RLUSD and VBUILD for RLUSD. Every single exchange gets verified by Redstone DeFi oracles to ensure that $1 parity. It's instant, it's on-chain, it's regulated, and here's the kicker. No off-ramps required. This integration gives BUILD and VBUILD holders some incredible new capabilities. Increased utility, better settlement pathways, intraday transferability, simplified treasury management, and native composability through both DeFi and traditional finance. And this is just the beginning. This marks the very first integration of RLUSD into Securitize's platform. But there's more. Securitize is also integrating directly with the XRP ledger to expand access and bring new utility and assets to the entire XRP ecosystem. As they put it, now regulated yield-bearing assets move with stablecoin-like speed and flexibility. Their CEO said something that really caught my attention. Partnering with Ripple to integrate RLUSD into our tokenization infrastructure is a major step forward in automating liquidity for tokenized assets. They're recognizing that tokenized treasuries are becoming absolutely core to crypto market infrastructure, and with RLUSD, BUILD, and VBUILD can all move instantly, 24/7, completely on-chain. This is incredible to witness. We've been talking about tokenization for such a long time, and we've been watching the XRP ledger pick up serious volume around tokenized assets. We just surpassed $356 million, and I have a feeling this number is about to explode. And let's talk about RLUSD's growth for a second, because it's been absolutely incredible to watch over the last few months. Think about this. We started the year with only about $77 million tied to RLUSD. We've nearly 10 times that value on-chain since the new year started. That's the kind of growth that shows real institutional adoption is happening. But it gets even better when you see what the Ripple leadership team is saying about all this. Brad Garlinghouse is clearly excited about this announcement, and he dropped a hint that got my attention. Soon to come, RLUSD and XRP ledger. This is going to be huge because right now, users can redeem shares for RLUSD on Ethereum 24/7, 365 days a year through Securitize. But when RLUSD hits the XRP ledger, that's going to be an absolute game changer. We're talking about pairing RLUSD with XRP ledger functionality, the speed, the efficiency, the cost effectiveness. It's going to be incredible. Monica Long also chimed in with some context that really puts this in perspective. Last week, we announced DBS and Franklin Templeton using RLUSD as a liquid, stable, and compliant exchange mechanism for tokenized assets in lending and trading. This week, Securitize added RLUSD as a new off-ramp for BlackRock and VanEck tokenized funds. Do you see the pattern here? This isn't just one partnership. This is a systematic rollout of institutional adoption, and Jack McDonald summed it up perfectly. Ending Q3 on a high note, through Ripple's partnership with Securitize, RLUSD is now a key stablecoin off-ramp for BlackRock's BUILD and VanEck VBUILD tokenized fund holders. The integration is starting with Ethereum, though Securitize is planning to integrate with the XRP ledger as well. Starting with Ethereum, but moving to XRP ledger. Exactly what we want to hear. Now let's dive into Ripple's official breakdown because there are some fascinating details here. This smart contract they've created adds an additional stablecoin off-ramp, specifically for BUILD and VBUILD, tokenized short-term treasury funds. Here's something really significant. BlackRock's USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund, BUILD, and VanEck Treasury Fund, VBUILD, represent both firms' very first tokenized funds issued on public blockchains. This isn't just another product for them. This is their entry into the tokenized world. With this new smart contract, BUILD and VBUILD holders can instantly exchange their shares for RLUSD 24/7. We're talking about unlocking additional stable on-chain transfers while investors maintain continuous exposure to RLUSD and preserve their exposure to on-chain yield and access to broader DEFI strategies. It's all about utility, flexibility, and interoperability for tokenized assets. The rollout is happening right now. RLUSD for Build is available today, and VBUILD support is coming over the next few days. Ripple put it perfectly. Making RLUSD available as an exchange option for tokenized funds is a natural next step as we continue to bridge traditional finance and crypto. And they're absolutely right. These worlds are converging at lightning speed. That's exactly why we're seeing all these massive announcements around institutional players. First DBS Bank, then Franklin Templeton, now Securitize. This is exposing RLUSD and XRP to BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, Van Eck, Hamilton Lane, Apollo, basically every major financial institution you can think of. But here's what makes RLUSD special for institutions. It's designed specifically for institutional use, offering regulatory clarity, stability, and real utility. As adoption grows, partnerships with trusted platforms like Securitize become absolutely key to unlocking new liquidity and enterprise-grade use cases. RLUSD isn't just another stablecoin, it's a trusted enterprise-grade solution designed with regulatory compliance, utility, and transparency at its core. We're talking about high-quality liquid assets, strict reserve management and asset segregation, third-party attestations, and clear redemption rights. This thing is designed to meet the highest expectations of both institutional users and regulators. And here's the regulatory backing that matters. RLUSD is issued under a New York Department of Financial Services Trust Company charter. That's some serious regulatory rigor right there. Since launching in late 2024, RLUSD has been gaining adoption across DeFi platforms and liquidity pools. It's integrated into Ripple's cross-border payment solutions, supports seamless on and off ramps into the crypto ecosystem, and get this, it has already surpassed $700 million in market capitalization. This isn't just growth, this is institutional adoption happening in real time, and we're witnessing history in the making. And you know what? Almost every single domino is falling into place right now. Look, I don't want to be that person who just says, "Oh, we've been seeing the biggest things happen," without actually showing you the proof. But guys, I'm telling you, we have legitimately been witnessing some of the most massive announcements around XRP and Ripple. Let me take you through Ripple's press center because when you see all these press releases laid out, it's going to blow your mind. Just look at what's happened in September alone. We've got the Securitize announcement we just talked about. Then there's the DBS and Franklin Templeton partnership. Before that, the BBVA announcement and RLUSD expanding into Africa. Each one of these would be huge on its own, but they're happening back to back. But wait, let's go back to August. Ripple and SBI announced plans to distribute RLUSD in Japan. Huge. And then there's Ripple acquiring Rail for $200 million, expanding their leadership in stablecoin payments. That's just the last 2 months. Now let's jump to July, and this is where it gets really interesting. VRT launched their blockchain-based platform for structured credit, recording a $700 million issuance in Brazilian real. And yes, this absolutely includes XRP. When we look at the XRP ledger data, VRT Capital is sitting at number 1 with over $135 million tied to it. July 15th, Ripple expands their global custody footprint into the Middle East with Cotrell ALT. And guess what? That's also hitting XRP. Cotrell ALT is sitting at number 8 on the ledger with about $6.2 million tied to XRP. I know it's not massive, but hey, every bit counts, and it's all adding up. Then we have Ripple selecting BNY to custody their Ripple USD reserves. Ricardo Bitcoin expands global access by tokenizing $200 million in regulated financial assets directly on the XRP ledger. And July 3rd, Ripple launched their blockchain accelerator, advancing innovation and talent development. Are you seeing the pattern here? All of these major announcements happened in just the last 3 months. And honestly, when I step back and look at the bigger picture, 2025 has just been an absolutely huge year for both Ripple and XRP. But this Securitize announcement, this might just be the cherry on top that changes everything. I genuinely think this partnership is going to ignite a complete tokenization storm on the XRP ledger. The infrastructure is there, the partnerships are falling into place, and the institutional players are all lining up. This is exactly what we've been waiting for. I am so excited about where this is all heading. What do you think? Are you seeing the same patterns I'm seeing? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I genuinely love hearing from you guys and getting your perspectives on all of this. And if you enjoyed breaking down this massive announcement with me, definitely smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss any of these game-changing updates. Trust me, with the way things are moving, you're going to want to stay in the loop.